I'm here at the Chinese Cemetery in South Oak Bay on the unceded territory of the Lekwungen people. This place holds many memories, both cultural and geographical. There are over 900 Chinese immigrants buried here. They were banned from being buried in other municipal plots due to discriminatory policies. The plan was to ship the bones back to their ancestral villages in China. However, the onset of World War II prevented that from happening. Behind me here is Harpooner's Rock, which, as many of you will know, is an erratic. In other words, a rock that has been carried here through glacial action thousands of years ago. The erratic. Cold, hard, I stand. Eternity, nothing moves. But from inside and beyond, a new age, a wrenching, a glacial grip, a grind. Ice tears away, the muscle rips cold, layers come apart, tendons scream. The bones, the brokenness begins. The bones. Parts of myself in retreat now. I can see there is no blood, only water that once was ice, so clear. Along the path, solids scrape solids, scars etched forever into stone. I come from a family of immigrants. My parents and siblings came to Canada, journeyed over on a freighter at the end of the devastation of World War II. As I sit here, I contemplate the question, when we leave a place, perhaps forever, what do we carry with us? I will take with me. She will stand at the prow, sniffing, in my boat, inside my shoes, Prince, the Brittany Spaniel, as if she still lived. When it is night on the water, I will make a song for the stars. The story of my mother stowed deep in a waterproof bag. I will take with me. I will take with me rolled scraps of paper inside my shoes, my recorder, German rosewood, a soprano, with her hunter's nose and stub of tail. My legs heavy and strong. I will take with me. Questions I always wanted to ask my mother. How did you swing it after the war? How did you break free, the train so full that no handholds were left? You had to belt yourself onto the last car, onto the railing, that balcony off the end of the German caboose, rumbling off and away, that gray that I see in pictures. There is no photo of this. You lean back, the dark smoke, the wind, the wave of your hair, long then. How did you do this? The arch of your back, the iron of the last car leaving, the track ahead, the swell of your abdomen, ripe with child. Two literary figures arise in this poem, Paul Celan, poet and Holocaust survivor, and Martin Heidegger, philosopher and Nazi sympathizer. The two met long after World War II in the Black Forest. The Burgundy effect. She traces her finger along the line of my map, shows me a different route down. Born in Stuttgart, 1945, she knows the terrain. We stand on Feldberg, highest peak, on the edge of the Black Forest. Hills here, topped with trees, valley floor, a marsh. Vines grow along a strip on southern slopes. The trees, like guardians, stop frost that kills, catch wind so grapes can ripen. The Burgundy effect, Spätburgunder, a red wine rare in these parts. She tells me she wrote a newspaper column about food and drink, hikes alone. We eat chocolate. She won't speak about the war, what her parents did or did not do. worse in cities where even winter potatoes were scarce. She takes me to the Jewish graveyard, a wooden gate back against the north side, letters in Hebrew carved into stone, moss. We are caught in a thunder shower, drenched as we stare into gray and green, this place left alone, a dark slope. Totnau Bag, a village on my map, not far. Heidegger's hut, Celan's poem. The two met there, walked in the woods, 1967. Martin impressed with Paul's knowledge of plants. A tincture of arnica, a salve of eyebright. Botany was what they could share. My Stuttgart friend and I hike overseas now, bring wine to the desert. We see markers, cairns for the dead. We stop, kneel down into dust, saying the names. Gisela Renate. In this poem, I am not named Gisela. In grade 1, I do not take chalk from Miss Estie's hand at Shaughnessy Elementary. Write each letter uppercase bold on the blackboard. I do not think, if my name is written right, they will understand. Not being Gisela, I do not know that Craig Campbell and John Stark call me Gizzard. I don't remember them. They're simple names with no history. I don't witness the stumble, the stutter of tongues as people say, Gisela. I do not wait for questions. What a pretty name. What nationality are you? Without Gisela, I do not have my secret narrative. Born during June floodwaters, near the river, on the front seat of our Meteor in the Monashee Mountains. Yes, born in a car. The Meteor momentarily stopped here, mid-flight. Not being Gisela, I do not hear when my father says, learn Latin, the root of rational language. Nor do I hear when he tells me about Renate, my middle name, that Gisela Renate means Gisela reborn. When I graduate from law school, my father Helmut doesn't perform the song he once sang with my German aunt during Fasching, carnival time in the Rhineland, before the war when they were young, still dancing. This song for Gisela, the aunt I was named after, my mother's little sister. Tante Gisela, who came for a short visit after the war, drowned, swept over the falls in the Shuswap River, her grave dug in Kelowna. Gisela, her headstone sent over from Europe to North America, that desert, bare earth and sky, no Gothic arch, no bell tower, no ancient bell to ring. And my mother, Ozula, with no memory of the name, the river, does not walk into the graveyard with a shovel, dig the dirt to move the marker, to always carry it with her, the headstone of her German sister, now dead in the Okanagan. Since my name is not Gisela, my mother does not give me her sister's gravestone one day in Victoria, a place named after an English queen. This dead weight carried from desert to coast, this marker carved in Rhineland-Pfalz, dark wood cut into the shape of a steeple sent over in a plane. In this poem, I am Renate. I see photos of my mother Ursula, her sister Gisela, she who escaped from the Shuswap River, later also emigrated to Canada. I look at the two women now, silhouettes in black and white. They face each other, laugh, well into the light. Ballroom speech. She is a judge. She is a woman in black robes, indigenous, steps behind the lectern in this ballroom where we sit, speaks of her university daughter who asks, "What are you doing about it?" She means the missing and murdered women. This ballroom where we sit, the audience filled with cops. There are no windows. The men are not in uniform and they don't carry guns in here, and no one dances the foxtrot for long, long, short, short, or the Viennese waltz In a square, or is it a circle? The man leading. He signals the woman with a hand pressed into the small of her back. And there is no graduation or gala to be seen in this ballroom, even though chandeliers hang, their million slivers glisten, globes of glass suspended, the ice in our glasses are eyes. It is quiet in this ballroom full of men, their motto, to serve and protect. A white cloth droops over the edge of the table, and we all listen to the woman whose daughter asks, "What now?" Or maybe, "Why?" The room is a modern design. The ceiling, a clouded mirror, reflects light. And the woman stands, sings of her daughter, in this place where we sit around a table. The men have lost their insignia. They have no rank. Their large hands lie cupped in their laps. The banquet is ending. We wear formal attire, but there is no dancing. The men move their thick fingers, flatten out paper napkins, fold them back in place alongside plates which carry the cold remains of dinner. Victoria poet Patrick Lane was my great teacher. The next poem arose from a lunchtime conversation at a poetry retreat about the feral rabbits that had infested the University of Victoria grounds where Patrick was teaching at the time. Our assignment was to write something profound, something about rabbits. It all began at the university residence, or so it is said. A dorm room, a student alone, but he has 2 rabbits in a cage, and we know where that leads. By the time you can tell them apart, the he and she have turned into they. When I arrive, I think I know about names, the birds and the bees, but in the amphitheater, my first law professor says, "You must ask yourself what the reasonable man on the Clapham omnibus would do in the same circumstances." The boy lets the rabbit family loose in the field. The colony becomes a continent, plants and grasses stripped, $1 million turf, an aperitif. In second year, I learn about guilty and innocent. We are advocates, not finders of truth. This time we wear robes. Outside moot court, I witness foreign students feeding rabbits they think are wild. At Easter, they name newborns. Some are run over on their way to find food. At a fundraising dinner, university donors are given stuffed rabbits as gifts. In my last year, I find myself lost in what they teach is a legal fiction. Under cover of darkness, the administration captures rabbits, old and young, cages, and flies them to a rabbit sanctuary in Texas. At graduation, I receive parting words. Watch what judges do, not what they say. Soon the headline reads, "Trouble in Texas. Canadian rabbits escape from their compound, are shot with rifles. Farmers angry over lost produce." At the university, new students arrive, drawn in by the story of wild rabbits alive on campus. When truth dawns, these fresh young minds dig up lawns in protest. They plant vegetables in memory of the dead they never knew. De minimis no curat lex. The law does not concern itself with trifles. Things I like about the moon. It holds the sun's light, but does not demand. It changes shape while remaining constant. You can look it in the eye, but like sadness or sex, it often dances behind a veil of clouds. Without fanfare, it pulls the tides of 7 seas. Its skin is scarred, changes colors. Before rain, it wears a copper halo. When it does something exceptional, we call it blue. Happy is over the moon. It makes shadows only some of the time. Smooth, round, or crescent sharp, its gender is not fixed. When it brims full with strong juice, sane people lie pinned in bed awake with their blinds closed. Crazy people break windows, climb down knotted sheets, escape from buildings barefoot. Dogs jump onto the tops of empty picnic tables to be closer and howl. Cats on fence rails mate and yowl. In the back garden, night flowers bloom. And on the beach, the dark blanket of water is pulled low down to the pubic rock, and a million tiny water creatures find themselves suddenly on land.